Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
The Uganda National Museum, a place where unforgettable memories are created. Traditions are found and a connection to our Paul is reinforced. It is not only a testimony to the history of our nation, but also impacts knowledge of cultural and natural heritage to the present and future generations for their enjoyment. Through a variety of activities and exhibitions, we gather to discover our traditions and create new ones. The Uganda Museum is our country's cultural icon that makes it accessible for the next generations to come together as our story unfolds and represents the interplay of our country's past and present. It is in our history, but also in how it has evolved to embrace optical satisfaction and new influences. Our identity as a country is not only a moment in time, but also a journey of where we have been, where we are, and where we are going. We invite you to experience the authentic heritage, rich history of Uganda. Welcome to the Uganda National Museum.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital.
Hi Rogers, can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be normal.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Well, you are live at the Alternative Digital TV on this 9th day of June. The year is 2025. Happy Heroes Day from us to you, and of course thank you so much for tuning in to yet another insightful episode of the Hotline Show. We're always here every Monday evening having 2 hours of information, of giving you what is happening in the country, and of course you being able to make an informed decision and of course knowing what is happening across the country. And of course we have these conversations to build a better country, not for only us, but also for the generations that are yet to come. As we speak right about now, President Museveni has honored a few countrymen, a few Ugandans as heroes as we celebrate this Heroes Day today. And of course many of those were gallant UPDF soldiers, some still serving, others have retired, but they have been commemorated and remembered as heroes today. And of course we are from the Eid festivities that were held last week, and of course many people and many Muslims across the globe always celebrate this particular day in remembrance and of course in commemoration of their particular faith and belief. So last week on Friday we actually had Eid right here in the country, and many people we continued to celebrate it. And we also, as Digitalk TV, would like to stand with those people who celebrated Eid Day and of course tell you happy Eid. Now in other news, the youth elections are gearing up as we are speaking. I think we have like 10 days to go. On the 19th, the country is going to be going to the polls of this particular month. We're going to be voting the different youth leaders across the country. The National Unity Platform has started gearing up this particular campaign. I saw their president, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, actually begin these particular celebrations. But of course the National Resistance Movement as well has been gearing up for those particular elections. Then also the president last week, the Fountain of Honor, was speaking to the nation in what he called the State of the Nation address. This is a particular annual address that is mandated constitutionally, and of course the president has to come and account to the country on where we are and of course where we are going and the trajectory of the country. So President Museveni was able to speak to the country last week, and he painted rather a rosy picture of the country, starting from the economy, starting to the inflation and everything. Really, it looks like Uganda is actually going or becoming better by the end of, or by the day. And also we realize that gold is one of those proceeds that we export exponentially here in the country. And many people say, where is this gold coming from, and how accountable have been the people who are managing the exportation of these particular resources? We'll be painting a picture of what is happening in the country, and maybe if we have some time we shall be looking at the politics in the land. As we speak, the NRM has some primary elections. The vice chairperson for the women's particular league in that particular political party, it's becoming tedious and rather competitive after the speaker, Anita Mong, is going head to head with former speaker, that is Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga. So what does this mean to the politics of the country? We'll be talking about that this particular evening. I'm privileged to be joined by a gentleman who's not new. He's a panelist here. In fact, both of them, they are panelists right here at the hotline. Shall start with you, Mr. Joseph Ochieno from the Uganda People's Congress. It's always a privilege, sir, having you on the show. You're welcome.
Pleasure to be here, and except when we first started this program, when I was very lucky that you used to host me alone. By then my compatriot, fellow Pan-Africanist, I think maybe was still on strike. Did you know that actually they used to host me alone? Yeah. So I founded this program. Wow. But except for that, I've rarely sat as close to you as I am today, but it's good to be here. It's good to be here, and it's good to be here with my fantastic younger brother.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking of your younger brother, a Pan-Africanist, legendary journalist, and CEO, TheSpy, Mr. Andrew Irumba. It's always a privilege, sir, having you.
So much, my brother. It's always a pleasure, especially drinking from a very rich cup.
Wow.
Rich in terms of knowledge. My brother and my comrade senior here, comrade Ochieno.
Imagine now, I'm taking from both of you.
You're a fine young man, by the way.
Thank you.
You do well.
Thank you so much.
You do well,
and of course, you can join the conversation at The Alternative Uganda and at Digitalk TV. We are streaming on Facebook, but also on YouTube. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. You can also find me on those particular social media platforms. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Ochieno. How was your week? And also, let's talk about Heroes Day. Happy Heroes Day.
Oh gosh, my week was was okay to the extent that it was the usual week,
Okay.
where you get phone calls for people who are looking for top-ups for school fees, guys that don't have that money, and people who are looking for top-ups because they want to attend medical services. People want, sometimes very desperately, asking for 7,000 shillings and they're up country.
It's like $2 really.
Yes, or sometimes less. And then there are people who are generally stranded over sometimes trivialities. It's not unusual for me to get phone calls where people are stranded over things involving 1,500 shillings and people are complaining and fighting over it in the villages. Of course, some of those will be relatives, but some of them will be colleagues. And some of them can be members of UPC whom I would have connected with or maybe passed through their paths in much more harder part of the country, like West Nile, like in Karamoja, or perhaps even sometimes here in Bunyoro, or maybe as close as Bulisa, where there is oil. And so those are my usual weeks. And they irritate me because the very same week is the same week in which Mr. Museveni effectively grandstood at Kolo Airstrip, presenting how glorious the state of the country is, when I know the realities. And I told another program that in the Museveni State of the Nation address, not a single item referred to the realities that I know in my Nagongera. Now, Nagongera was amongst the few townships, as they call them, young towns, around the time I was starting school in the whole of Bukedi. And so it's a generally very established place with a seminary, established schools, and general organized mini town. But it also continues to be the bastion of poverty. But it is also the place in which, if I go back today, I know there are families that go to bed without food. And this is in Toro, here, just here. And I also know that there is that place that I will stop down the road and I'll see children who will not have gone to school because they've been sent home for the 7,000 shillings extra that they should be put in for building contributions. And
they call it development fees.
Yeah, and whatever others, you go to church. And I went to church in Nagongera the other Sunday, 2 weeks ago. And I need to say this. They were announcing with massive pride the collections for the previous week. And the collection for the previous week over 2 masses, which includes this day's tithes, which they now, people do tithes, including in these churches, which is good in a way. And it was 120,000 shillings collections for 2 masses services. And I said, look, this is my Nagongera St. Wilbrord's Catholic Church which brought me up. Now that tells you the magnitude of despair, of poverty. And then you go through the collections of the day, and I'm just using that very deliberately. And this is the God's one, so I can't fight it. And you see a small parish collection group, the collection, people line up with baskets.
Yes.
And there is St. Kizito's, St. Wilbrod's, St. Roger's, and then one particular group, maybe a small tiny sub-parish, basically they're sub-parishes. One sub-parish, there's a collection of 1,900 shillings. So that means maybe there are 5 people who made that, and people are just putting 100 shillings per day. Now, those are the realities today. But that's it in Nagongera, by the way. Nagongera is not Liantonde, and Nagongera is not Rwakitura. Because Rwakitura was known. You get my point?
Okay.
And so, if then that is the state of the nation, I ask, for 40 years, there is not a single, and you can go with you.
We shall get there, because one would even ask, does that undermine the fact that the country is going forward? That can be maybe...
Is that going forward?
Maybe can be your sample space. There's some other people also telling a different kind of story. But before you delve there, it's Heroes Day. What is your message for heroes? And I don't know if that is a sarcastic laugh, but what is your message for Heroes Day?
Yeah. Before I do that, I still want to conclude in 30 seconds to tell you that it's unacceptable that you can have a state of the nation. So if there's a state of the nation in which Nagonga is not included in the nation, then you could as well say that we take off Nagonga from Uganda's map. Like 3 weeks ago, I was at Kololo, and as I was entering the airstrip, there was a cheeky stop off by the NRA guys who stopped traffic, and we were there for about 45 minutes because Museveni's wife was coming to enter Kololo airstrip. And I told the police and military guys that these guys can as well take Kololo airstrip, and the whole of Kampala, they can take it, could as well take it to Rwakitura. Meaning, so if Nagongara does not belong,
no, we've not said it does not belong.
But
I think the problems of people in Nagongera are the same problems with the people of Fort Potro.
Then the state of the nation is very... So I'm telling you, therefore, that Museveni's state of the nation, Museveni's state of the nation,
we're
therefore,
going to look at it
is a Rwakitura state of the nation, is a few people whom he steals 100,000 shillings, 1 million shillings and gives them. That state of the nation is not representative.
It's okay. We're going to look at that. But I want to first speak your mind on the Heroes Day.
Yeah.
What is your message?
You realize that I look very sad today because I think I'm mourning Ugandans who died unnecessarily. I look at the father of Uganda's nationalism, that is Ignatius Musazi. I look at Milton Obote, the father of the Republic of Uganda. I look at David Wito Jok, who made the former announcement in April 1979. That is the strategic tactician who got rid of Idi Amin in 1979. And I look at Tito Okello. I look at people like Zed Maruru. And I look at Joshua Wakoli, whose remains have never been found today. And I can count many of these Ugandans who died for nothing. And so those are Uganda's heroes. You can't find a reject from Ankole, which Mr. Museveni is, an election reject of 1980. You lose an election, leave Nyabushozi, go to Luweru, go and break people's necks in Luweru, come take power, and for 40 years, Nagongara is not included in your state. And you go Nyong and you shout and you say it's your hero. What hero is he? I think today should be a day of reflection. It's not a day of grandstanding. So because I don't know who the heroes in NRA are, and if they are, they're not national heroes. They're NRA heroes.
Okay, I'm going to come back there. Let me first bring in Mr. Irumba. Andrew, as you tell us about your week, what is your perspective of the Heroes Day celebrations that are being commemorated today? But also I saw some of the heroes that have been, let me say, awarded medals today. Many of them are soldiers. I saw Brigadier General Mugume, Brigadier General Mpaji, Rwashande. Most of them were soldiers that have been awarded this year. What's your message for Heroes?
Now, you see, let me even begin with General Rwashande. Rwashande is the man who is trying to liberate Rwemiyaga from Sechikubo.
Yes, liberate.
Rwashande has been in the army since time immemorial. This is 2025. We are going to serious elections this year, I think beginning July, August?
June.
It sort of started now, really.
June.
The youth election.
This is when Rwashande now is being awarded, recognized as a hero.
I get the point, yeah.
So he has said,
he has just retired.
Yeah,
he
but
retired this
January. Retiring
so
means
after retiring, with everything that he has gone through, with how he has served the country, it's now time to.
Yeah, what a coincidence that he has been preaching the gospel of liberating Rwemiyaga from Sechikubo. So is Rwemiyaga in Rwanda that you want to liberate it to bring back to Uganda? Then on that around that same time, you are now awarding him as a hero. So that hero is going to liberate Rwemiyaga. Not from Rwanda, but from within the boundaries of Uganda, but from a person called Sechikubo. That's number one. Number two, I want to tie my argument on, in Uganda's context, comrade, who is a hero? We are vulgarizing the context of heroes and heroines. Now a murderer can be a hero in this regime. A thief can be a hero because you are serving the interest of the sitting government. So the word hero is, we need to find another meaning. Not the one I grew up learning about from primary life up to...
If men put their lives on the line and liberated the country, like they like to say it, from all the outrageous things that happened then, why wouldn't you call them heroes when they gave their ultimate self?
What outrageous crimes are not happening now that they liberated us from? Let's begin from there. What outrageous crimes are not happening now that they liberated us from, comrade? If it was about murders, you just heard General Muhoozi Kainerugaba has ordered the release of a soldier who is alleged to have killed some people in a gold mine store somewhere. You have heard about that?
Yeah,
the man was
we're not,
the
that's still gossip. We don't have evidence to confirm it yet.
Yeah, but if you believe that there is rule of law, General Muhoozi should allow the due process of the law to take place. You are not the court. You are not the judge. You didn't even study the law. So if there is a suspect being suspected to have murdered somebody, allow the due process to take place. Because he has said, you release him, I will deal with him myself. I know him for a long time. What are you saying? So now you are the court. You get it? Don't be surprised tomorrow that man can be awarded as a hero. That man. Hey, hey. So those are the kind of heroes now we are celebrating.
Some of you said today that they are he called them counterfeit heroes. Why are you disrespectful, really? How do you call a man like Brigadier Rashande counterfeit hero? Why isn't he a hero?
No, do not put words in my mouth. You started by saying Semujunga.
No, but for you also saying these are not heroes.
I just find it a little bit disturbing that we don't have the clear parameters at national level of who described who a hero is. But rather, if you right now we went into a war and we won the war, everybody among us, even when you had been raping girls in the bush, you become a hero because I choose as a commander-in-chief that you become a hero. Yes. So we don't have a national team, devoid of politics, that can say these are the parameters. When we are schooling, there is a cut-off point that for as long as you have not gone above 50, you have failed, you go back to class. Even if your mother is the head teacher, the moment you have not achieved 50 pass mark, you go back to class. Now in Uganda, we don't have that. Even if the pass mark was 50 for heroes, someone can say,
you don't want to see.
Someone can say, this one is a son of a revolutionary. Even if you got 20, you give him, he's a hero. So now you don't have a pass mark. If I asked you what are the perimeters of evaluating heroes and heroines in Uganda, what would you say? Are there some key things that you look at and say, Ochieno, these are the perimeters, and for you don't qualify? If it's about age, you say, Ochieno, you are not yet 80, you are still 70, so you don't qualify. You get it?
Yes.
Yes. If it's about color, you say, Ochieno, you are too black. You are supposed to be a bit brown. If it's about height, you say, Mr. Ochieno, you are 4.5 meters. The heroes
I get you, the criteria is there.
So you tell me, what are the perimeters of one becoming a hero in Uganda? Are they there?
No, I think one would say they look at some of the service, the operations.
Who looks at them?
Of course, there's the fountain of honor. Okay. He evaluates to see that if I have sent you, for example, Kayanja, I'm giving an example, you have done Operation Shuja very well, you've done this operation, and I think...
What is Shuja?
It's an operation in DR Congo.
Where? In Congo?
Yes.
To do
you
what?
Have rooted very well.
We are Pan-Africanists, Shuja is in Congo. What are we doing in Congo?
We are fighting.
So you add the word that you have looted very well in Congo.
You've looted very well in Congo.
You have overlooked.
Yeah?
You see, that's the diction. You're choosing to call it looting. Someone is calling it a military operation.
No.
The victors of the war like to determine.
Today, Uganda is paying billions of money
that's correct,
in US dollars for looters who went to Congo and looted.
So,
Instead of
Mr. Irumba, who do you think would make a better hero in this country if you were to evaluate? With your history, with the experience you have, who would
first,
make a
a
good
person
hero?
who has died for the national cause, not a regime cause. That's the simple thing.
Yeah.
He who has died for a national cause. You know why they call Nelson Mandela more than a hero? He can be a hero, he can be anything in South Africa. Because he offered himself to die for anything that would bring peace in his country. Even when he became president, he did cling on power for 40 years because he's the hero. No. He said, my job is to start off the journey. If the car has been off the road, I have brought the car back onto the right track. So any driver now can drive. So I give up. Another driver can come and take over the car. That is a hero. You're not fighting for yourself. You're fighting for the national cause.
So tell me,
so now,
the people who lost their lives in Luwero, to what extent are they heroes?
Do you know the history of Luwero is being told by those that won. So the first casualty in that history of Luwero is the truth. What did I say?
The first casualty.
The first casualty in that Luwero war is the truth. Comrade Karuhanga, if I tell you 50 people died in Luwero, I am telling you as the commander-in-chief today, do you have contrary information to say no, they were 100? You don't have.
There's no way. I have to take his word for it.
Exactly. But is he Jesus? Do you think that man speaks nothing but the truth? The one who is telling you. The other day, I had somebody who was involved in an accident here. The accident that killed 7 people. One of the survivors, I hosted him on my show. He told me, from my own car, where I was, the taxi, we were 14. We only came out 2. But remember, this heavy petrol truck crushed 7 cars. All those cars had dead bodies. My own car, where I was in a taxi, we were 14, but we came out 2. But the police, as officials said, only 7 people died. You get the point?
I get you.
So it means more than 20 people died.
Yes.
This is an account from a survivor. And he stood there and saw and counted the bodies from his taxi. So when he heard police saying, very boldly, 7 people have died, the man was saying, you people, you mean the rest who died were chicken, not human beings? But once the police speaks, that's the official statement.
So you're trying to say...
So that's the official statement, 7 people died. But the man who was there who tells you over 20 people died. So now, this history of Luwero they are telling you...
Did they die in vain? Those people
The
in
Luwero?
Did they die in vain?
I can't tell. I can't tell whether it's somebody who died there in Luwero or somebody who survived. Like I told you, the first casualty in such a war is the truth. Did you hear of somebody telling you that one time, I think he was crazy and he spoke the truth for the first time. He said, when we were there, we would put on boots. Like you see the way I'm putting on my shoes. This one would put it upside down. Upside down means this would go into this and this one comes this side. Then they walk backwards.
Yes.
When they walk backwards,
yes,
they confuse you.
They confuse
Where
the enemy.
exactly,
The enemy.
Now,
yes.
they would go there and commit atrocities.
Yes.
After committing atrocities, now they walk smartly to the camps of the rebels. So that when you are tracing, you see the footsteps going to the rebel camps. So it will be easy to convince you as a layman that it is these rebels who have raped your children, your girls. So you give me your strong sons and daughters to come and join me in the war. Did you hear that account?
I've heard of that narrative.
Yeah. So now, somebody at one time, I think he drank something and he spoke the truth. Another person said, sometimes they would put on
UPC.
the government, the official army uniforms, bombard areas, beat up people, kill people, maim people, rape women. Then afterwards, they leave evidence that shows it is government forces. Because the uniform that they would ensure they drop around or even they forget in homes are government uniforms. So in the morning they would come to commiserate with you and say, so sorry. But you see, these are government soldiers who are doing these things. So we must work together to get rid of these people. So you would join very ably because you want to get rid of that problem. But actually it is that same person who has caused the problem. So the complex of the heroes of Uganda, sometimes they make me sick.
Okay. That is Andrew Irumba, CEO, TheSpy, veteran journalist and senior journalist in the country. Mr. Ochieno, then why do we keep on wasting
But before
money?
you go back to Mr. Ochieno, would
Yes,
you allow
please.
me also speak a little bit about what we went through last week as a weekly roundup in terms of the 3rd June being Matters Day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important. Now, in my Pan-Africanism, I don't think the people who died in Namgongo were martyrs, that we were even supposed to celebrate them. Hey,
What were they?
you know that those days, a king was the sovereign leader of the territory. If a king has said, don't join that crusade of religious leaders, and you join them, and you officially show me you support them, what do you think the king would do to you? Or what would you call yourself? You are disobedient. You are a rebel.
Of course, I would be a rebel.
So
in
what
that
what
case.
would a rebel, what do you think is the punishment for a rebel? Or a rebellious son in a family? To give you ice cream. So those guys were killed because they rebelled against the king. The king didn't bother whether you were Catholic, Muslim, or
I
Protestant.
think what qualifies them to be martyrs is that they gave their life for something they believed in, and they never in one moment said
Let
no.
me ask you, there is
They
a
would
po-
not
there-
deny
there is
it.
there is a 12-year-old boy. Are you aware?
Yes.
So what did he believe and what did he understand at that time?
At 12, you can understand your God, something
That
you
that
believe in.
that you die for your faith at 12 years. Would you die for your faith at 12? Even by the time you were 12, did you
No, at
understand how
12,
you were
no.
baptized? You
But one would say,
one, legally, you must make a personal decision, even in the laws of Uganda now, when you are 18 years. When you are 18 years, everybody believes that every decision you take, you really understand it. You can't be 12 years and somebody says he has died for his religion. There is somebody who has been feeding him information.
so that means
And that may not be correct.
so that means the kid who walks,
They killed
the kid who
rebellion-
walks from
they
Mubende to
killed-
Namugongo
they killed
does
the
not
they-
understand what he's doing.
They killed rebels.
No, are you trying to say that a kid who walks from Mubende to Namugongo does not know what
He's
they are
simply
doing?
following a flock of people walking.
At least they have a-
and,
that's
and,
what I'm
and,
trying
at, and at that age, you can be moved just by a group
Yes,
of people.
but they had an option of saying we would deny, but we still wouldn't. They refused to deny.
No, my brother, I want to be clear that Kabaka Mwanga ordered Mukajanga to go and kill rebellious people in his kingdom. Kabaka Mwanga did not believe that Catholicism and Protestantism was a right ideology in his kingdom. So anybody who came to support it against his will, you were supposed to die. It didn't matter whether you were Mutoro or Muchiga. It didn't matter whether you were a Catholic or Protestant. It only mattered that you had rebelled. So at the end of the day, they say, these have died for their faith. No, you have died because you are rebellious.
I gave you an opportunity because we had that conversation on Monday last week, but I wanted to hear what he's saying on that. As maybe you also...
You're supposed to die.
You were rebellious.
Yes.
Okay, but at least they died for
If
their
you
faith.
rebel against your boss here, what will he do? Of course, now he doesn't have to kill you, but he'll kick you out of this studio.
Thank you so much.
So would you come and say tomorrow, I was kicked out because I'm Karhanga, because I'm black, because I'm Toro? No, he has kicked you out because you have rebelled.
Thank you so much, Mr. Irumba. Ochieno, sir, I want you to just paint a picture. If we go back to the heroes, why do we keep spending this money? Because it's billions of shillings that we invest in that day, and according to how you're saying, these people should not be heroes.
No, it's criminal. It is criminal. You know, when I was telling you about Nagongera, I didn't. I realized possibly you did not see that I was actually building the case. That it is criminal that today billions of Uganda shillings are being spent lavishly by a bunch who are not necessarily accountable to the people of this country. You know, actually insulting people who lost blood. You know, but as I said, right now as I speak, a woman is going to die tonight giving birth in a hospital in Uganda. Right now, as I talk, somebody's going to die of malaria tonight in a public facility.
No, just say somebody has already died.
And there's no medication.
Somebody has already died since morning.
And right now, somebody's trying to find a way of selling their chicken, their hen, or a cock or something like that to cater for and offer basic health facilities. Some people are actually taking shortcuts to go and do the African style, which sometimes is slightly cheaper.
Yes.
You know?
I get you, sir.
So it's actually absolutely criminal. These guys, I think, who should be a hero? I think let's leave that for another day, or I can actually discuss it much later, but good enough you're not asking me about that. But it's actually possible for national heroes like Comrade Irumba suggested to emerge. I tried to give you account of who some of them were, both military and otherwise. And those will be legitimate heroes. And indeed, we also have heroes, including those who emerge, and I see it happen in other countries, by the way. Like in Britain, they will do that. People who've done heroic work in communities. So somebody who possibly rescued
There's a band
people in an accident and showed a sign of extra courage and risk.
An example
you
would
know?
be a story in France where a gentleman risked himself to just save a baby who was trapped in a furnace. And this person was rewarded with French citizenship, and they're now a national hero of France.
Those should be the national heroes.
Okay.
You know, and heroes. But for a bunch, as I said, Mr. Museveni lost elections in Mbarara North, went to Luwero. The first shot in Mbarara, I mean in Kabamba, you know, it was actually aimed at a Tanzanian soldier. You know, apparently the firing, which is being grandstood that the guy with the one eye, what is his name? Eli Tumine. That was the guy's courageous. Actually, even missed. So he's not even missed the shot, by the way, in Kabamba. In that, you know, did you know that?
No.
No, he missed the shot. You know. Number two, the deal between Tumine and Jeje Odong, you see, Jeje Odong was a permanent NRA, whatever. Jeje Odong was the commandant in that place, UNLA, but they had a deal with the Musevenis to give them Kabamba, the armory, except it was a deal that went bad. They don't want to tell that story. So it's a bunch of criminal cowards.
You're going personal, really.
I'm not.
You're going personal.
You know, I know people like you sometimes, some of you young guys, especially who grew around too many NRA guys, sometimes when we state some of these facts, they become a bit uncomfortable, isn't it? I'm just telling you the fact. And in part because you've not heard about it, have you? You did not hear about that. That's a fact.
Okay.
Tumine missed, okay?
The story is different. I know about Tumine, but let's continue.
No. I'm telling you, you invited us here because of our skills and expertise and our information. And me and Irumba, we are actually desperately trying to sell this thing to Ugandans as facts. You know, Jeje Odong can't deny this. Museveni can't deny this. Can Museveni deny that he's a reject of Nyabushozi? Can Museveni deny that he came third in elections?
Okay.
Can Museveni deny that he didn't go to court in Mbarara but came to Luwero?
No, he
So
cannot.
which election, what did he come to rescue in Luwero? Luwero, the whole of Luwero, people voted DP in Buganda. Only one seat, UPC in Mubende, by Samir Mugisha, fantastic Minister of Agriculture. You know, the rest were DPs. So where was UPC? Whom were they bombing in? No, those guys went there. So the people who died, particularly NRA people who died, their family should ask Mr. Museveni about their sons and daughters. The innocent people of Luwero should ask Museveni about their sons and daughters.
Okay.
You know, and then finally,
yes.
Mr. Museveni, lest you forget, they used to throw bombs here in Kampala. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I know you had not been born.
Well, I know.
3 o'clock in the afternoon, some of us are going to school. Boom, bombs in the markets. Boom, bombs on taxis.
Okay.
These guys killed. These guys should be bumped into Lozera. These guys are no heroes.
Thank you. I'm going to end with you. Andrew, is there something you want to add on the heroes? Any last remark?
No, honestly, no. I think I made my point clear.
Okay, but what
I don't understand the context of who is a hero in Uganda. I'm just maybe I need to go back and study the right English. Maybe you don't understand who a hero is.
Okay, no problem. I'm still with Mr. Andrew Irumba and Joseph Ochieno right here on the Alternative Digitalk TV. We have 17 minutes to the top of the hour, and the hotline show happens every particular Monday from 7 to 9. We touch base on some of the issues that have been happening in the country, paint a picture for you to understand maybe, and also make an informed decision about yourself, but also for your community. Before we delve into Mr. Museveni's very rosy state of the nation, I also want to pick your mind, your drivers. there is a new penalty system.
Express penalty system.
Express penalty system that is in town now. One would say it's bringing accountability, but there are some voices here and there. I want to start with you, Andrew. What do you think about this new phenomenon?
There is no accountability, my brother, it's bringing. There is thuggery, more thuggery.
I thought now it's bringing sanity on the road.
What sanity?
Driving.
Let me tell you first.
Please paint a picture.
What is the main cause of accidents on our Ugandan roads? Do you know what it is? First, the state of our roads.
I think it's reckless drivers.
That can be the third or fifth point.
No, they say it's the first. Yours is the second or third.
No. Of course, they will have to tell you that is the first so that they charge you because their interest is money. It's not about addressing the issue. So allow me to tell you. Let me tell you. The first cause of accidents on our Ugandan roads is not reckless driving. It's not even overspeeding, nothing. Do you know in Europe and America, highways, this one has been in UK. UK, for most of his years. The highways, somebody can even drive 220 kilometers per hour. Am I lying?
Yeah, there's some
highways.
There's some highways without limits.
220 kilometers. Others, some even have cars that can even go as fast as 240 kilometers per hour. There is no accident. So what is the problem? The state of the roads. Ugandan roads. One, like, it's just as big as narrow as this. You see this one in the studio here. Then you have it's two-way. It's this narrow, but it's two-way. Then on your side on the left, as if you are driving to Fort Porto, you have to leave a space for a stupid border man. Then you have to leave space for a cow that has been tethered along the road. Then you have to leave a space for a pedestrian. Then you have to leave a space now for you to drive. Then you have to leave another space for the other car coming from the different direction. Then that car coming from your different direction also has to leave space for those three categories that I have mentioned. Are you getting me? So you are like 10 things competing for a small road. Now, even that small road, it is potholed. So tell me, when I'm negotiating a pothole, I'm entering into the other person's way. Remember, on my side, I have 3 things to give away to, including a stupid border. The other side, the same thing for the other person coming from a different. So you find 10 things competing for a small road like this, which is also not correct. Potholed, humps here, and humps that even there is no warning. You simply drop in like a small hump, that is the warning. The next one is a big hump. Their warning is a small hump. That is their warning, not signs. If there is a sign, it is somewhere hidden. Then after it, there is a big MTN billboard, or Airtel, or Bellaga, Mwenge, or Waragi, Uganda Waragi. The billboard for Uganda Waragi is big. The sign post for a road, that example is small. So as you are coming, your eyes first look at the Uganda Waragi. Not the road sign. So when you knock, so the police officer. Let me finish. Let me teach.
Have you had these accidents?
I am coming. I am explaining.
What I'm trying to say.
I am explaining to you the main causes of accidents on our Ugandan roads.
A person, a bad workman, who's blaming his tools other than himself as
I am going to show you by the end of my argument that it is the government that is a bad workman blaming his tools. Allow me to teach, not you but the viewers. So that is the problem. The road is narrow. We are competing for a small road that is not even clear. Number 2, there is a man called the stupid border. He thinks anytime, anywhere, he has a right of way. He's like an ambulance. An ambulance has a right of way. Presidential convoy has a right of way. A border man has convinced himself stupidly that he's also among those two. So anywhere he reaches a car, he wants the car to stop and he passes. Even when he's driving on the wrong side, he wants you, the person who is in the right side, to stop for him to pass. So those are the 2 main causes of accidents, the road and the stupid border. Go and check in Mulag Hospital. Even has a special word called border accidents. Not cows accident. Not cows.
Yeah.
A cow tethered on the roadside. In the morning, when there is mist and it fears to stay in the breeze, it will take some refuge on the road because the road is warm a bit in the morning. As soon as it sees a car or even a human being, The cow moves and goes back and hides in the bush. When you pass, it comes back. Have you seen that? When you are ready, when you are moving in the villages, these small roads in the village, you find a hen in the middle of the road taking, taking some food. The moment you're about to reach the hen escapes and takes refuge by the roadside. When you pass, it comes back and continues with its food. So the hen understands better than a border boda. When the border boda sees you, the car coming, instead he enters the road.
No,
a hen, when it saw you coming, it hid.
I agree with you.
So now,
but Andrew, you've been driving for a long time, and I want to assume that you have not caused a lot of catastrophic accidents or any catastrophic accident yet.
Yes.
How have you been driving for that long?
Because
with those factors intertwined, and you still drive safe and sound?
Because I've understood that I'm with stupid people.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to say
now,
is that
let me qualify my statement. The stupid people, I'm not only meaning the border. No, I'm meaning the person in charge of expanding my road, but he has eaten 2 lanes. That one is also stupid. Go to America. He has been in the UK. Yeah, one way is 4 lanes. Another way is 4 lanes. Those are 8 lanes. All highways, leave alone now Europe because it is too involved. Go to Kenya here. Go to Tanzania. All highways are 1 way. Most fatal accidents happen on head-on collision. They know, these stupid people, that head-on collision happen most on highways. So right from Malaba up to Kisumu, up to Nairobi, 1 way. And each 1 way has 2 lanes or 3 lanes. Tell me how you will meet with the other person from a different direction when clearly there is a 1 way. So now, the person
what is wrong with the penalty system?
I'm going to come. I'm going to tell you. Now, the person who is supposed to construct 3 lanes going and 3 lanes coming, he has eaten 2 lanes. He has left us with 1 lane. Now, tomorrow the same stupid person is charging me for knocking another.
There you go.
This stupid person is charging me for knocking another when he ate the money. Now, what is the problem with the penalty? Now, this very stupid person who ate the 2 lanes now is penalizing me, charging me that I have overdriven. And because I have overdriven, I have knocked somebody. The problem was not overspeeding. The speed has no... This expressway... This expressway, how much speed do we drive? This expressway. Have you heard of accidents? Do accidents on that road happen as much as they happen on these other roads? No. Why? It is 1 way, and it is clean, and it has lighting. Why? Because it is for payment. We pay, they charge us. So, this expressway, accidents are minimized. And the speed is higher than these other normal roads. But there is no accident. Why? Because it is 1 way, and it is wide enough. And it is clear. The lights are both on during the day and at night. These other roads, there is no light at night.
So, okay, just tell me, what is the problem with you going at a certain limit, speed limit, that don't pass by 30?
My brother.
And you'll pay the 600.
My brother.
And when you go slow,
my brother, I have told you, these people who have eaten the 2 lanes, in order to find excuses to penalize you further, they have told you, please drive 30 kilometers per hour going to Fort Portal from Kampala. When you meet that same stupid person who is telling me to do it, he cannot drive his car from Kampala to Fort Portal at 30 kilometers per hour. You will meet a traffic police car driving at 180 kilometers per hour. Meanwhile, the same police officer is telling you to drive 30 kilometers per hour, going a highway. That you have a program in Fort Portal. You are in Kampala now, that you should drive at 30 kilometers per hour. Which highway in the world has ever done that? So, he has failed to accuse himself for stealing from us. He's finding refuge in our speed. First, before you charge me, first do your part. Make sure we have clean roads, make sure there is enough lighting, make sure there is no potholes. Now charge me for overdriving.
Okay. You've always talked
about...
You
have failed on your part. You are finding refuge in blaming others. You first do your part. Run your race, blame others for not doing the same.
Let me bring in Honorable Ochieno. Honorable Ochieno, we've always decried the poor policies on the roads, saying that these taxes are too cheap, talking about the receipts, being able to manipulate them through corruption. Now they have brought you a system that even if nobody holds you accountable, the system itself is now computerized. It will send you an email that, hey, Mr. Joseph Ochieno, you need to pay this for this reason with the evidence attached. One would say the country is moving to a better modernized system.
On the basis of what Comrade Irumba said.
I don't want to base on
No,
his.
no,
I
no,
want
no,
to just say, don't you see the modernity?
But before you come in, let me also add something. You see, Uganda, these African leaders are very hopeless. They want to copy and paste, but they don't want to
That's
copy
right.
everything.
That's
Now you see one of the expressions they've been saying.
In Rwanda.
Even in Europe.
In Rwanda,
Yeah, even in Rwanda, this is happening. Yes, in Europe, they first worked on the roads. So why don't you copy everything? Copy the system. Copy that the fact is the European roads and the Rwanda roads are clean and they are rating. Now again, after making the roads clean, now they come to charge you who is driving recklessly. However, these ones are charging the ones who are purportedly driving recklessly without them doing their things that they're supposed to do. In Europe, they first do the first things first.
Thank you. He reminds me of a gentleman who's always here, and he will say, when Martha Karua was entering Tanzania, you saw, but when he came here, I know you know that person.
I do. And
What do you
on
think
the
about
basis of
that?
what my brother is talking about, there is nothing clever about what these people are doing. It's actually criminal. And if only, and by the way, your audience need to know that in your studios, your camera person and others and people who control the studios are predominantly young, beautiful ladies and boys.
Yeah.
Meaning young Ugandans need to wake up,
Yes,
you know,
please.
and take charge of this. You know, Ugandans are being taken for ride and for granted for such a long time, and so much in the extreme, that this is something that would obviously cause a strike. But of course, we're not going to strike because people fear Museveni's son. You know, that you better not go to streets of Kampala because you'll go down to the basement.
They are building more basements, so be careful.
And whether you like it or not, then you may have to go and land on Nyankore. Now for me, Ejapodora from Luna, Gongera, I don't...
By the time you land in Nyankore, you may land forever.
It can be hard, man.
You may land forever. You may not come back.
Some people boast that for us, when they disappear, they come back. At least the times when we busy, they never came back. I was like, hey, so it's a lesser evil now.
You know, no. Away from Europe, this country ever had a system before Museveni came. Before Museveni came, we had trains. Kampala to Kasese, that would be an easy journey for you. Then you're able to pick up and then go to, you travel business class to Kasese, and then you can then proceed to Fort Portal. And for me in Nagongera, there would be no need for me to drive. My car, which the NRA road is already broken. We had public service buses. The roads were okay. Potholes came in around Idi Amin's time, and they were very quickly being refilled. In fact, in 1984, in my first journey to Katuna, Kabale and Katuna, it was my first time in 1984 to visit Kabale, and then I was able to go to Katuna. Huge major roadworks from Kampala, Masaka, Kabale Road, rehabilitating the mess to take it away from the potholes. But Comrade Irumba, I can sympathize with you. You know Hoima Road, and that's the road that goes to this place where they go to indoctrinate people, Chankwanzi. They've done it recently because I was there recently.
They are constructing
Those
it,
potholes used to be terrible. So 2 years ago, I think I was in one of the national television that spoke about it the day after the potholes. And then a member of parliament actually from the West told me that I think 3, 4, 5 days later after that come from Chankwanzi, they started sort of feeling it. Now, it may or may not necessarily be related, but I couldn't understand how these guys go to Chankwanzi so often and they were facing those potholes. Extremely dangerous. Meaning the point is, a senior leader from Kagadi told me one time I had visited, they said that, Joseph, make sure you go early. And if you go early, please don't pass there because of the point about the accident you're talking about. And yet, you know, I've been driving since before and around the time you bought. No. Have the trains, have the buses, do the roads, do the cars, do the mechanical things, do the trainings. Let the rules for paying taxes be the same rules for everything else. Let us know that the monies that we pay for penalties
but
are monies
these
that...
penalties really bring sanity to
No,
the
it's
roads?
criminal. No, it's criminal. It will not bring...
Because now people
will
are
not-
even already driving.
It is such a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's commonsensically such a lot of money. You know, the amount of money being asked are people's salaries.
Yeah, they
You
do
know?
it. That's why they call it a deterrent.
No,
They're doing that
but they're
to
thick.
deter another person.
They're thick. They're thick. And I'm saying that they're thick. Because they live in another world. And by them using that very deliberate, because some of these are our colleagues. The person who came with that is someone who wants to take us to some kind of extreme slavery for the people of Uganda. Meaning lock Ugandans in such a manner that they're not able to sustain their ordinary life. It's criminal to say that some of those European spaces that they talk about, equivalent of 600 Uganda shillings, when the top age of earnings in Uganda is 1 million Uganda shillings. It's like the basic fixed penalty thing in the UK or in Europe is equivalent of this would be possibly £2,000 equivalent to 3,000. This is extraordinary.
Okay.
It just doesn't make sense.
Thank
Deal
you.
with what Comrade Irumba is talking about and you get it sorted now.
Okay. Let's
If
hope
you
for the
know
best.
that you go to church, you go and pray, fine. You know you go to classrooms, you find people. You know you go to an office and you find the minister and you get whatever you got. You go for your NIRA and then you go to get your documents. You go and work systems that work, that is fine. But if you want to pick people's money, you know, but you don't want to give them the services, no, you're up to something else.
No, I'm going to bring you after this short commercial break. But before I go for the break, I have here a statement by President Museveni, the State of the Nation. He talks about tourism development, minerals, parish development model, how it has alleviated poverty in the country. He talks about maize, he talks about coffee, fish. And all these things paint a rather beautiful picture of where the country is going. And then he also hints on some of the construction that will be going on very, very soon. That and much more is what we touch base on after this short commercial break. I'll be coming back with Mr. Irumba. We talk about what he had to say, but after that, we delve into the conversation of the State of the Nation. How practical and how feasible is Mr. Museveni's State of the Nation? Is it actually the State of the Nation? What worked and what did he miss? We take a short commercial break. You're still watching the Hotline Show. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. This is Digitalk TV.